Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, delegates and fellow panellists, and thank you very much to Denise and Kim and the entire team at Humanitarian Affairs Asia for this incredible opportunity to speak to 1,000 of the brightest young minds in the world in a beautiful facility here in Kuala Lumpur. You will have to excuse me, I do prefer to stand while I speak, particularly to such an esteemed audience as the one that sits before me today. So why is the USLS so important to me, and why have I come all the way to Malaysia today? Well, in August 2017, I was in the audience of the 8th edition of this event in the UN SCAP Hall in Bangkok. That week, I was privileged enough to listen to incredible speakers, such as Geraldine Cox, who we were privileged enough to hear earlier, discussing their journeys in their various socially beneficial endeavours. It was fair to say that I was sold instantly, particularly by the passion with which they all spoke. I was perhaps pretty similar to you then. I was 20 years old in my final year of university. I was idealistic, but not really sure how to turn my passion into an impact. And then an opportunity presented itself. A month later, I found myself in the highlands of Papua New Guinea, doing field work for my honours thesis research. I focused on human development constraints in the area of education and health, and over the space of a week, I walked across villages, surveying 400 people on their lives and experiences accessing critical services. I also had the chance to visit local hospitals and schools, and while walking through the Kuta Primary School, I noticed that the learning experience was similar to what I was so privileged to have enjoyed growing up in Australia, but with one exception. The classrooms were pleasant, there were teachers, textbooks and whiteboards, but there was absolutely no technology to be seen. No digital learning tools in a world where digital literacy is absolutely essential to a successful existence. I came to learn later that none of the 3,500 primary schools in all of Papua New Guinea had a functional computer lab. That was all about to change, even if I was not aware of it at all at the time. So on the last day of my trip there, an opportunity presented itself. It was an opportunity to be generous, and I decided to take it. I decided to make a difference. I decided to hand over to the Kuta Primary School my personal laptop, with which I had surveyed so many of the locals. Moments after presenting the gift, I was speaking to the national media, who were on hand for other reasons, when suddenly I made a promise that I would be back with 12 more laptops to form a functioning computer lab at the school. Suddenly, an act of generosity had turned into a movement. It needed a name, and so on that day, LiteHaus International was born. Upon returning to Australia, I got a few friends together and we got to work, passing the hat around our circles for donations and searching for ways to come true on that promise that I made to the people of Kuta. We were, and fair to say we still remain, the ultimate amateur outfit. Just a couple of friends in $3 shirts that we painted LiteHaus on ourselves, doing raffles and collecting and recycling scrap steel just to raise the funds to meet our first challenge. And I will just interrupt my scripted speech now to say that my office is actually in my parents' garage, and my dad's been kind enough to come along and join me here, so if you can all give him a hand, he's been huge for me. So, 6 months later, on the back of incredible momentum, generosity, hard work and some bravado, I stood at the Kuta Primary School and cut the ribbon on the first functional computer lab in all of Papua New Guinea. Within just 6 months, we had achieved what some of the world's largest NGOs had deemed too hard. But it didn't stop there. Another computer lab followed in July. We expanded to Uganda and Pakistan, empowering some of the most impoverished young people on the planet with the tools to learn and, more importantly, the tools to dream. Another computer lab in Papua New Guinea followed later in 2018 and again in March 2019, and suddenly we had a thriving community of thousands using our digital learning tools. And so we arrive at the present day. It hasn't even been 2 years yet since I handed over that first laptop. We have now collected 120 laptops, we've raised 45,000 Australian dollars, we've reached 3 countries, 150,000 people on social media, and by the end of this month, we will have improved the educational experiences of over 6,000 students and installed 7 pioneering computer labs that will last a decade. More importantly, however, as I speak now, there are people in Papua New Guinean classrooms and towns, Ugandan churches, rooftops in Pakistan, and Australian bars sharing the story of LiteHaus. And this all began with one single act. So that's our story summed up in the smallest of nutshells. However, I'm not here today to simply repeat what you could find out on our website. Instead, I have come here to speak about the power of opportunities and taking every chance you are given in life with both hands. When people ask me how LiteHaus happened, I do ask them if they have all day, but then I tend to sum it up by saying that we simply took our chances. We made the absolute most out of every opportunity that fell our way. Today, I am here to help you make the most of the amazing opportunity you have here at the USLS. Inspiration. That is what the USLS is all about. And inspiration is the greatest gift you can impart on anyone. Our slogan at LiteHaus International is digital learning, inspiring minds. But it is the latter that I feel is 100% more empowering and meaningful. 2 years ago, I wrote a word down in my notebook while I was sitting in the audience at the USLS. One single word, LiteHaus. I did not know what it stood for. I did not even know why I chose it, to be perfectly honest. It wasn't even spelt the same as what we have now. But I wrote it down, and I made a promise to turn that scrawled intention into something incredible and impactful upon people's lives. And today, just 2 years later, LiteHaus stands for a global community of thousands, different in background but united by generosity, who are committed to inspiring the minds of a generation of young people. It began with a single word, a single intention, a single act just 2 years ago. So before you leave this room full of inspiration, this incredible experience which the USLS offers, I truly beg you to write something down. You do not have to know what it means. You do not have to act on it just a month later. It does not have to turn into something enormous. But just write something down while you're inspired. Write something down which will have a positive impact on our world. And while you have pen in hand, write down the name of the person next to you. The greatest asset you will ever have in life is good people. So finally, before Napuna comes up here, I want to talk to you as a member of the generation of future leaders. We are the generation of unparalleled opportunities. Even this multicultural assembly that sits before me would not have been possible 200, 100, even 50 years ago. Our generation is the best positioned and the most powerfully equipped to make an extraordinary impact on human history. However, with that, we also face humanity's greatest challenges: the climate emergency, rising inequalities, and adapting to life with artificial intelligence. And we cannot face these locally. We must think and act global, and for that, we need each other. We need each other's ideas, we need each other's skills, and we need each other's inspiration. We are the generation of responsibility and the generation of opportunity. The world is our oyster, and together, let's create its pearls. Thank you.